the Galaxy was a movie directed by James Gunn and stars Dave Bautista, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Karen Gillian, and an astonishing cast, including Sylvester Stallone. That was a huge shocker. And now this movie takes place 6 months, I believe, after the first movie. And now the team is pretty much dealing with things. Just doing stuff. Because I'm trying to figure out what's the plot. What's the main overall plot. I just gotta say that this movie was disappointing. And when I mean disappointing, I mean this movie was what didn't really capture me into the moment where I was actually enjoying the movie itself. Like the very first movie, when I first saw Guardians of the Galaxy in the first movie, that was an amazing movie. I was into the acting ability, I was into the story, and I was into the actors and the portrayal of each character. But this movie, in the first act and second act, I wasn't feeling anything at all. Actually, I felt a little bored, and where I wasn't really that to the point where I was like, what movie am I watching here? Now, the things I just want to talk about was the jokes. The jokes did not land. They just constantly beat you in the head with jokes. And this movie was pretty much giving out jokes, a lot of jokes just trying to make people laugh. And the movie focused primarily on that. And that took me out of the movie a little bit. And I just wasn't feeling anything around the jokes. And Drax the Destroyer, who was played by Dave Bautista, I felt like he was the comic relief kind of guy. I mean, he's constantly just laughing and making wisecracking jokes, and really none of the jokes were hitting. It was just forced, and he was just feeling like he was just always laughing, always making the wisecracker joke, and he's making poop jokes and nipple jokes and dick jokes. Me personally, I love the performance of Yondu and Raccoon Rocket and Nebula. Those three characters shined, and I felt the most. They developed their characters to the core. To be honest, this movie was kind of like Age of Ultron, because Age of Ultron focused more on the deep core of the characters, getting their deep emotion and how they feel. This movie primarily focused on the core of the personality. Each character, how they feel towards one another, how they feel about their past, and how they feel about life in general is very, very good writing. The characters I really felt the most when they focus on these core emotion was Raccoon Rocket, Yondu, and Nebula. And those three characters were fleshed out and developed into the point where I was actually loving these characters. But outside of that, the movie focuses way too much on the jokes. The action sequences was subpar to me. There's noticeable bad CGI in this movie, like the first part when they was fighting that little giant technical monster being. I'll call it the Borgullet. The blood for the monster looks CGI, and also there's a scene where there's this blue goo that's attacking worlds that looked like complete CGI, and that was very noticeable bad. Now overall, this movie was disappointing, but yet in the third act it got a little interesting and it was fun, and I really enjoyed the action sequences in the third act. And also there was these gold people that was in this movie as a subplot, but yet they weren't in the movie as much, but I didn't really care for them that much, but I did care for Aisha. It's completely gold, and I loved her because she looks good, and she was a good face to look at, so I kind of wanted her to have more screen time. That's just me personally. But overall, the gold people was really uninteresting at all. Overall, this movie was disappointing. I did not feel as much as I wanted to as I was watching the other MCU movies. Now, these are the things I'm really scared of when walking around the MCU, because the last 3 movies I've seen the MCU has declined. Doctor Strange was a decline because it focused way too much on the jokes. Age of Ultron was a decline because that fake focused way too much on the jokes. And then this movie was a decline because it focused way too much on the jokes. And it takes away tension from the film, and I was just disappointing. It's just disappointing. And Karen Gillian as Nebula, she did a very good job in her role, even though some scenes she is overacting. And we got a little backstory on Thanos, by the way, but from her tragic story and backstory, but revolving around Thanos is a very bad MF, and I just hope that this badassery that her character was describing, hopefully we see that in Infinity War and not see a CGI Barney, because my fear is Thanos going to become a CGI Barney. That's what happens when you have so many jokes in the MCU. You just can't take it seriously. I had to give this movie an average rating. A Michael Keaton Batman. This was an average movie. I'll probably watch one time and not watch again. But the characters do get fleshed out and developed, and I really love the characters even more thanks to the development. Overall, that's it. So I know this is going to be a controversial review. I mean, there's a vast review. Some people hate it, some people love it. So guys, that's my review for Guardians of the Galaxy, and I will have a spoiler reviews coming either Monday or Tuesday. You have been warned. Till then, ciao.